Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the first review on this channel. Today we're going to be talking about Yokai Watch, and before I get into the review, I just want to give a shout out to Game Explain. I'm using their footage, mainly because I just didn't want to be bothered recording my own footage, but it really would be the same footage regardless, so I'm just going to put their link in the description below. So Yokai Watch is basically a game where you walk around as a child, collecting ghosts and fighting with said ghosts. It's a pretty basic premise, and to be quite honest, I don't think they really expand on that much further. So the gameplay, basically, you walk around a relatively large map, and there is a bit of a gripe with the walking. You do have a meter, it's basically stamina, and once it runs out, you're really slow. So originally, that was a huge downside to me because you can't just sprint around. But they corrected it with two things. A minigame that happens every once in a while that makes you need to use the stamina. I'm not going to spoil that part for you guys, because that was probably one of my favorite parts of the game. And two, they give you a bike at some point which doesn't use stamina, so it really doesn't make a difference regardless. So in addition to that, you walk around in different locations. You get a little meter, which is your watch, and it kind of tells you if you're hot or cold near a yokai, which is the characters that you find and you capture. Once the meter is close enough, you look at a tree, you look at garbage cans, under a car, under vending machines, and yokai are there. And basically you go into a battle and you have to capture that. And now this is one of the biggest problems with the game. When you want to capture a yokai, you have to feed them their favorite food, or sometimes just get really lucky. But that's the thing, you have to be really, really lucky. You can feed them the best quality steak available in the game, and they love steak, you know this because you looked it up online, and they still won't join you. It's basically a coin flip. You don't know what's going to happen no matter what you can do. You can waste the most expensive thing in the game to try and get the character, only for them not to come and join you. And that's a huge problem, because you can spend hours upon hours upon hours just trying to get this one yokai, and he just doesn't want to join your team. And that's very unfortunate, because a lot of the designs are really cool, and a lot of the higher level yokai are really, really difficult to get. In the beginning, you'll probably pretty much get anything you want, but as the game progresses, you're going to have a lot of difficulty trying to grab the higher level guys. The battles themselves are actually quite interesting, and I believe are very unique. You don't control the yokai directly at all. They're on a wheel, so you get 6 at a time, and they attack automatically. They have 3 attacks that you can't influence. So one is just a basic attack, the other one's usually like an elemental attack, and the third one's something called Inspiriting, where it's either a buff or a debuff. So it's like, say for example you inspirit your own yokai, the yokai that was inspirited will say get a speed boost, but if you inspirit the enemy, they might get a defense drop. So that's sort of what they do, and they choose from those randomly. There are attributes and personality types that you can change around that will influence what they do most likely. So there's a little bit of balance to that, but that's not during the battle. That you have to do that before the battle, and there's a little bit of input there. The 4th attack is called a Soultimate, and that's something that you do via on-screen, on the touchscreen, mini-games. So what this is you have to charge up a meter, and when the meter's full, you can use a Soultimate, which is a very strong attack. It can hit multiple foes, it can hit a single foe really hard. There's one that's like basically serves as a taunt, where you're more likely to get attacked, so your other 2 guys on the field right now aren't going to get attacked as much. And the mini-games are sometimes a little tedious, sometimes not too bad. It kind of depends. It varies completely. There's popping bubbles, there's spinning a circle, there's drawing characters, which sometimes I find a little bit difficult, especially some of the characters that have little squiggles in them. Those are really hard sometimes. I sometimes mess those up. But overall, I mean, while you don't necessarily have a huge direct impact on the game immediately, especially on the battles, I feel like the battles were really well done. You have items to throw out during the battles to heal your yokai, or of course try and catch a yokai. You've got the ultimates going on. You have to spin your yokai around. You get a wheel, like I said, with 6 yokai at once. 3 battling in the front, 3 in the back doing nothing. So if you see like an attack, big attacks coming that you know your front 3 can't take, you rotate to the back. So it really, there is actually a lot of depth to the battles, and I really didn't think I'd enjoy the battles, but the battles were probably the best part of the game. So moving on, the story was, I'm just gonna be blunt, was awful. Each chapter was basically divided into what I like to call filler episodes. The stories didn't really connect to anything, but they were stories. So think the Naruto filler episodes. There's story there, but there's no overarching story throughout the entire game up until the last couple of chapters. The story was very, very just bland. There really wasn't much going on to it. One chapter you help one friend and you end the chapter. The next chapter you're helping another friend, and there's literally no reference to the last chapter. There's nothing going on. It's just independent episodes that have nothing to do with each other. At the very end, it kind of ties everything together, saying like, oh, all of this is because of this. Now we have to go do that. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you guys, of course, but I did sit at the ending wondering, is this really the ending? Is there not more? So that kind of goes to the length. Now, there's a large amount of quests to do in this game. However, I felt no need to actually do the quests. Most of the quests were boring fetch quests where you have to go buy a certain item, come back and give them that item, or go and beat a certain yokai and then come back and say, hey, I beat the yokai, and you end the episode. End the quest, sorry. So the quest, I never felt like needing to do it. I went through literally the entire game only doing 8 side quests, and most of those quests, I believe 4 of them, were literally important to the game because I had to upgrade my watch in order to progress the story. So really, while there is a lot of content in terms of quests, the quests didn't seem very fun. I didn't look at them all, of course, because, like I said, I only ended up doing 8, but a lot of them were fetch quests. So if you really enjoy doing that, that's fine. There were some mini games during the actual game. You can collect bugs and fish, and that right off the bat, you're probably like, is that really fun? It actually is. It's a little bit of a meter. You have to click it at the right time, so it's like a wheel. So it stop. Once it stops, it has to land on a specific spot on the wheel for you to get it, and I found that pretty enjoyable. But again, there wasn't really any end game to that. You can't catch yokai via this. You can't. The really only thing you can do with that I discovered was selling it for cash, which again I really did not use. Right before the final boss, I actually had about $2,000. And just to put that in perspective, most of the items that you can buy from the store are between $5 and $20. So I had more than enough money to buy. I bought literally almost 1,000 items for the final boss. I did not need items throughout the game, so it was pretty easy. Overall, without doing any of the side quests that weren't needed to be done, I ended up finishing the game in about 14 hours. So decently worth the time. A little short if you don't do the quests, but then again, the quests are really just fetch quests, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. The visuals, however, are amazing, and I gotta say, one of the best parts about this game is its charm. The characters are designed really well. They're not really that cute, but they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be demons, they're supposed to be spirits, they're supposed to be ugly creatures, so it kind of makes sense, but a lot of the designs are really cool. They're things you can evolve, you can fuse. You're not going to really, unless you do a lot of quests, you're not going to see a lot of things evolve. I only had 3 characters evolve on me, because they usually evolve towards the end of the game, and I was only able to fuse 1 character, and that was literally at the very beginning of the game when you do the quest for fusion. So I mean, overall, the visuals are really great. I love the design. The in-game just map and area and all of that just looks so good. It's crisp. I don't know how else to describe it. It just looks good. I really like the look to the game. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to say about this. Really, that's it. The music, not really super memorable. Not bad though. Some of the tracks were actually really good. Some of the tracks were just there. A big complaint though is I tried so hard. So first of all, there's like no guides online. There's very little information, even though this game's been out for a really long time in Japan. There's no information out on this game at all. So the best thing that you can do is, first of all, the wiki for this game does have the food that the yokai prefer, so you don't have to spend like a while trying to figure out which food they like, which food they don't like. So that's useful. But since there's no information on this game, one of the biggest complaints I had was the fact that the side quests, and this is actually one of the reasons why I didn't do the side quests, they didn't have any markers. They gave you a location, but here's the problem. The map is awful. You can't click a map, you can't click on the map and say, okay, what street is this? Is this street the street that I have to go to when you're on a different side of the map? It just doesn't do that. The only markers you get are for the main story, and if you want to do a quest, the marker will always stay on the main story. And I found that a huge problem, because a lot of these quests were very vague. The first quest that you have to do to unlock the watch to upgrade it so you can get higher level yokai, they say you have to go battle this one yokai in this specific place, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm wandering around the map for at least 20 minutes trying to find this place, because not only aren't the streets labeled, so I have no idea what street I'm on until I'm on it. They don't show you where the general area is that you have to go, so sometimes it's like a side street that you go down, and then you don't realize you're on the side street until you're on the side street. It's just very convoluted in terms of map directions. So the final verdict, hopefully there will be a thing popping up with the pros and cons. Pros. I really like the mini games in this game. I really like the battles. I really like the visuals. The music is a pro. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was okay. Cons. Do not like the quests. The quests were awful. Do not like the map system. They really need to either label things or put directionals for the subquests. Not a fan of the story. It was not connected whatsoever. There was not much going on. It just felt empty to me. When I ended the game, I thought I was in the middle of the game. I didn't realize that was the ending, because even though it was a battle worthy of final boss, there's nothing leading up to it. I just got thrown right into it, and I was like, okay, I beat him, now what? I want to go fight more people. No? Oh, it's over. Okay. So, and then finally, collecting the yokai is just tedious and completely annoying. You get a few free ones throughout the game. The early level ones will pretty much easily be caught, but you're gonna be having a hard time if you're just not lucky, and that's a huge problem. You know, at least in the game that it's compared to a lot, Pokemon, you can work very hard to capture a Pokemon, and it will capture. You know, it's not up to luck. It has a little bit of luck element, but there's a lot of strategies to try and catch the Pokemon. For this game, it's a lot of trial and error, and that's not a good thing. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed this. For more reviews, I'll do more as I go along. I really wanted to do this before. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Peace.